I'm shaking because I'm nervous. I did wash my hands, guys. Are very, very lubricated, very smooth. Ah, damn it. I should have already done that. See, my eggs are trying to come off the damn table again. Dolly Parton's creamy chocolate, Dolly Parton's buttercream chocolate, every single inch. The Dolly Parton's buttercream chocolate in there with the Dolly Parton's creamy chocolate frosting. I'm going to grease them down so they'll come out easily. I wanted to kick it up a notch. All right, guys, the last time that I was on the Bubba the Love Sponge show, Bubba likes me to bring in content, bring an offering into him, talking about how I could bake because it was one of the things that I grew up being an only child out in the middle of nowhere that I did with my mom. I've got everything set up. I've already mixed my dry ingredients, baking soda, salt, cocoa powder, a little bit. So this is going to be my cake mix here. I try to get everything set up as easy as possible because they always cut ahead. They always have a pre-baked cake in the oven. I'm not doing that. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. I got my chopped pecans. I got my coconut for the frosting. I will be making the frosting as well. Got my vegetable oil here. I got my 3 eggs, but I wanted to make this as professional as I could. I'm going to be making a double layer German chocolate cake, all right? These are 8-inch pans. I'm going to grease them down so they'll come out easily. I haven't preset my oven yet. Oh, also, measuring cup here was my grandmother's, passed down to my mom, and I guess it's now mine since she's no longer with me. So let's start this cake. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to add, my mom used this one too. I know it's not fancy or anything like that, but she always used this because it was a great size to be able to mix things in. She's had this for quite a while. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my dry ingredients here. Now I need to add a full cup, not a full cup, but a cup of water. And then I'm going to add a half a cup of vegetable oil to that. So just need to get that measured out. I'm shaking because I'm nervous and I haven't eaten breakfast yet. So that is 1 cup there. I also think I get the shakes just from all the drinking I did back in the day. So I need a half a cup of the vegetable oil here. Ah, damn it. I should have already done that. And pour out enough oil here. I need a half a cup of oil. Yep. So I'm going to add that. And then I need to stir this up. So I'm just going to fold this in. See, my eggs are trying to come off the damn table again. Gonna mix this in. This would have made a lot better cake if I could have found the blender attachments to the cake mixer that my mom has or had. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Always talking about your loved ones in the past. So I'm gonna mix this up. I'm gonna get this mixed up, and we'll cut forward, and we'll move on to the next step, guys. All right, so now I need to get my 3 eggs into the dough here. So, and I'm not getting any shells in there or whatever. Gonna have a lot of cleaning to do. So, I didn't want to leave out that part. You want to make sure that you have everything evenly mixed. You want it to be very smooth and flat. You don't want any lumps in there because when you do get lumps in your cake mix, it's not going to cook as evenly. So I got that really mixed up pretty well. I did end up softening some butter. I don't like using cooking spray. I know that I said that. So I softened some butter. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of just spreading the butter at the bottom of the pan and kind of around the sides here because what I want to do is I don't want the cake mix to stick to the pan, and then it's going to be all for nothing. So that's one of the tips that you need to do is make sure your pans and stuff are very, very lubricated, so the cake mix does not stick to the pan. Now the next thing is, as you can see, I have my cake mix is at a very good consistency. And now the key is that you want to be able to pour it evenly into the pans. And sometimes that can be a little difficult. So what you want to do is kind of measure it out. Don't worry in case if you go too much, that's not a big deal. But you kind of want to spread it out evenly. And I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, oh, well, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of batter in the pans. Well, that is true. But I promise you, this will raise. It's going to raise, and it's going to firm up, and it's going to be the perfect size. Because the last thing that you want with your cake is overdoing it and it's spilling out of the top of your cake pan. So my cakes have finally cooled off. That's very, very key because you don't want your cakes being hot when you're frosting. I know that I was supposed to make this cake from scratch, but I'm using Dolly Parton's creamy chocolate for the middle of the cake. So you always want to make sure your frosting is mixed up nice. The middle does not have to be neat. You're covering it up with another layer of cake. So you want to get in there. You want to make sure you got enough of the filling inside of the middle of the cake. So I'm using a traditional chocolate frosting for the top, and I went with a Dolly Parton's buttercream chocolate for the middle. Want to make sure that you get plenty in there because you got to remember this is almost like the filling of the cake. So I finally have the filling frosting, which is once again the Dolly Parton's buttercream chocolate. So now what I'm wanting to do is take the top layer and you want to get it in there as great as you can, okay? Now, I know that I'm going to have to put some more filling that I had already put in there with the Dolly Parton's creamy chocolate frosting. And then I'm going to, well, now my cat's in the back. What the hell? So I finally have the top piece in. I have all of my filling on the inside of the layers of the cake. I used that buttercream chocolate that Dolly Parton has got her names on or got her name on, and now I'm using a little bit more of a milk chocolate, a darker, rich, and creamier type chocolate. When you're doing the outside of the cake, I like to use a spoon to start off with, and then once you get all of the chocolate laid down, you go back with a knife and you smooth everything out. So you want to be very generous with the frosting. I know right now you're like, oh man, that's a lot of frosting. But what you want to do is you want to be able to have enough where you can get every single inch of the cake covered in the chocolate frosting. As you can see, I got the top pretty much coated. And now, once I get that done, I'm going to come through with a knife. I didn't want to go too heavy on the coconut. I just didn't know if people on the show were big fans. I know a lot of people are not fans of coconut, so I didn't want to go overboard on it. But I'm laying down a nice little layer here, and I'm going to go back through and I'm going to be able to smooth everything out for you guys. I pretty much have a good even layer over the top of it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more on the sides, but now I'm just going to put a little bit of coconut on top of the cake. Don't want to go overboard with this because, like I said, you can get a little too over generous with the coconut. So you want to just put a little bit on there, try to get it evenly spread out so it looks good. And just need a little bit more on this side, and we're good to go. I think that looks good. I'm about to put it in the fridge and let it cool down a little bit. So my cake has finally cooled down. One last little thing that I'm going to do is I'm adding chocolate chips on top of it. When I get done with that, I bought one of these handy dandy creative decorating kits. So I'm going to make some like lattice on the outside of the cake just to make it look great. I'm going to clean up the plate for the presentation. So now I'm just going to randomly place chocolate chips around the cake and it will be done. I know that I took a little bit of a creative license into it, but I wanted to add it. I wanted to kick it up a notch. This has really, really, just going to be honest, has maybe messed my mom. But I even think that she would be absolutely proud of this cake. Hope the guys enjoy it.